Welcome everyone to Neverwinter on PC. My name is Rainer and today I will be talking about some big upcoming changes that are currently on the preview server. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. And if you would like to see more information or videos about Neverwinter, hit the subscribe button. I was ready to make a video after taking a look at the actual companion changes that we saw before. So I did some theories about how it could be and stuff. We had some theories on how to get our stats back and such. Turns out it doesn't even matter. In this new situation, we need a lot less of the specific stats now in order to cap everything. And I will get into that, of course, in this video. So today's video is not actually going to be about the companion changes on preview, but more about the stat changes. I'll be going through the companion changes in detail in another video. For now, welcome to Neverwinter 3.0. Let's first look at the new interface for our stats. As you can see here, HP is gone. It's now here under total item level, and we also have a new thing called damage here. I will be going through what this means in this video, but let's look at this interface first. Then we have, instead of 9 base stats, we have 15 main stats with a rating here, which is much lower as we're used to, and a total percentage. As I said, I will be handling this later on. And then we have also some boosts. These were the utility ratings. Interestingly, a couple of these ratings have been moved from the utility ratings to the regular main stats, as you say. So now let's look into the details. First of all, I called this Neverwinter 3.0, and I don't use that term lightly, but basically the complete stat system has been remade in this patch. To list some of the changes, and this list is long. First of all, an important one, armor penetration is gone. It used to be here, reload power. We don't have armor penetration anymore. Armor penetration used to penetrate defense, and that is not a thing anymore. There's no counter stats anymore in this area, so you cannot reduce armor pen or penetrate defense anymore. Next up, Forte is a new stat. More about this later. But this is replacing most sources of companion influence. Armor penetration, by the way, is mostly replaced with critical severity, which is also a normal stat here, by the way. But we'll get there. So as I already mentioned a little bit, counter stats are mostly gone, and I will talk about this in more detail later. Then all the gear, all of it, I think all of it has been adjusted. So we had, for example, these rings. They gave, I think it was 1010 combined rating and about 20,000 different stats. As you can see, it's a lot less now, but it's kind of logical because our ratings have gone down by quite a lot. But yeah, all of these things, so the gear, we have the runestones, enchantments. As you can see, enchantments now also give combined rating, but they also give a lot lower values. The runestones that we, I don't have a lot slotted here, but they also give combined rating and different stats now. Artifacts also have been changed quite dramatically. So all of these things give different stats now, and most of the gear gives combined rating. And because we now have 15 main stats, combined rating actually goes into all of these 15. So combined rating is a lot more potent, so to say. Even power is now affected by combined rating. Then we have a couple of new stats. We have deflect severity. It's added as a player stat. Before it had a fixed value of 50%, so it did exist. Deflect severity basically determines how much damage you avoid when you deflect an attack. deflect severity is now countered by accuracy. The deflect chance is not counted anymore and is only based on your own stats. So if you have a deflect here of 36%, that means you will deflect 36% of the attacks. This means you deflect 34% of the damage, but the accuracy of the enemy will lower this percentage. Yes, that's a big change. So we have counter stats still for deflect severity and also for the next one, critical severity. Critical severity used to be a percentage, now it's also a flat stat. Critical severity is now countered by critical avoidance. So also here, the crit chance is not countered anymore by critical strike. Jesus, I'm lost for words. So critical avoidance is not countering critical strike and vice versa anymore. But critical avoidance is now countering critical severity. So critical avoidance will lower the damage of a critical strike. But if you have, as you can see here, I have a 45% to crit, which means 45% of my attacks will crit, always, against every enemy. And critical severity will determine the damage, and my enemy's critical avoidance will actually lower the damage of my crits. Then, another big one, a very big one, but as you can see here, my weapon does not have weapon damage anymore. Weapon damage is completely gone from the weapon sets, and our base damage is now derived from total item level. So if you can see here, my total item level is 39,000. So my damage is my total item level divided by 10. And then because I'm a DPS paragon, I get 20% extra. Healers get 10% extra, tanks get nothing extra. So this is basically my total item level divided by 10 multiplied by 20%, 120% actually. So that's a big one. This equalizes weapons a lot, but I'll get into that later in this video again. Then maximum hit points, actually, and you can already see it, it's both under total item level. Maximum hit points has received kind of the same treatment. Maximum hit points now also are derived from total item level. It's now total item level divided by multiplied by 10. Then you add some of the other HP sources, which I don't know if are all intended, but they might be. And then you multiply that for the tank roll by 20% and the healer roll by 10%, and then also you multiply that by constitution and your other bonuses, your raise bonus for example. And then you get to this total value. So those are pretty big. As I said, I don't know if this is a final value, but we will see. All non-percentage based stats, so all these main stats here that you see are now capped, including power. And you can see here my power is red, which means it's already capped. Every stat here now has a cap equal to your total item level. So my power here, as you can see, is 42,000. If I hover over this, it says I'm 3,475 over my total item level. So these 3,475 ratings have no effect on my character. If you reach your total item level, so your cap, then these base ratings will add to 50% of the contribution of this stat. So you can also see the rating contribution is 50%, which is the maximum. And then I also have some other contributions, which I will get into later as well. But yeah, this got a little bit more confusing, I think, maybe at first, because I'm still getting used to this. In total, the rating contribution and other contribution has a maximum of 90%. rating can be a maximum of 50%. The other contribution can be even higher than 40 if your rating contribution is less than 50, but the total maximum is 90%. So now let's look at this other contribution. The other contribution is something you get from percentage-based bonuses, such as attributes, for example. My dexterity gives me, for example, 14% critical severity percentage. So if I go to critical severity, actually I get more here because I have more sources of critical severity, which I don't know which ones that is, but these 14% go into other contributions. Other than that, we also have now companion equip powers. So companion equip powers now also, most of them have a percentage based equip bonus increase. So this one has 3.8 defense, the iron golem in this case. So this defense will here go into the other contributions. And I have a little bit more, maybe from some attributes or maybe boons, which is not a source. So boons now also give a percentage stat, which means these go into the other contributions. Racial powers have also been overhauled a bit, and also those now go, they are here. They also now go, because they're percentages, they go into the other contributions. Same for foods. Foods also give a percentage bonus. The watermelon sorbet, for example, grants you 10% power and accuracy. So if you use it, you get 10% other contribution here and 10% here. I can actually show you this because this is now 11.8 accuracy. If I use a sorbet, the other contribution goes to 21.8 instead of 11.8. So it's 10% increased. Of course, in power you don't see that because I already reached my 90% max. One last source, which is probably the biggest source of this other contribution, is the new stat Forte. I will go into Forte also in a moment, because this one is quite interesting. But what all of this means is that basically all the stats now have two types. You have the normal ratings, the flat ratings, and you have the other contribution percentage stats. And as I said, in total you can get up to 90%, as you can see here. And if you are at 90%, this actually lights up green. So we have a little bit of color coding now in this screen as well. To cope with the lower stats and with the power cap, magnitudes of powers have been increased a lot. It's not really stats things, but we've gotten a lot higher magnitudes on some of these powers. I don't have the exact examples, but I think this was 1400 or something like that. But some classes really have gotten to very high values. The Ranger is actually a bad example for the dailies because they're not meant to do a lot of damage actually. They're meant for utility, most of all. So as I said already, the boons, they do not give flat stats anymore. All of them are now percentage stats. So if you have these four now, you get 4% in total because it's each 5. 5 times 0.2 is 1. So if you have these four, you get 4% power from other contributions. As you can see, when I move my character to preview, I already have this at 90%, so my boon choices might be changing here. But also for the other stats here, you can see it's all percentage now. So you can tweak the other bonuses a bit. We now have critical severity here instead of, I think this was armor penetration. And we should also, I think we have, no, we don't have Forte here, right? No. Same works for HP as well. HP also adds a bonus at the end, so it's on top of the base calculation. You also get a multiplication of these hit points. I will work out the formulas at a later moment exactly, because I also have to put them in the character builder, as you can realize. But yeah, everything here now is a percentage. We have control resistance, deflect severity instead of companion influence in this case. We still have movement speed here, but yeah, all bonuses in a percentage. Yeah, probably some things here have all changed. Defense, action point gain. Yeah, we have deflect severity here in this case. I think this one has changed quite a bit. We didn't even have life lessons, so this one is completely new. Turn 10% of the damage done back to you as a heal over time. Interesting. So this one is completely new. Enhanced application. Yeah, I think this one is also new, but I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, guild boons now also give combined rating as well as regular stats. You know that guild structures go into rank 10. So these guild boons, for example, the power boon used to give 8,000 power and no combined rating, and it now gives at rank 10 3,000 power and 800 combined rating. 800 combined rating is actually a lot of stats, because it goes into, as I said, 15 different stats. So the amount of stats that you get from guild boons is increased. It's just that it's more spread out now. So let's go back to the racial powers. As I said, they have been overhauled to now mostly give those bonus stats. For example, 3% critical strike and 3% power. So also here you get the bonus stats instead of flat stats. They are not represented anymore in here. So this is only all of the flat numbers that you have on items. The percentages go into the other contributions. As for the overhauled racial powers, you can see that on the screen right here. Pause the video if you want to read through all of them. What I can tell you is that Metallic Dragonborn seems to not be best in slot anymore, at least not for all cases as it used to be, because for one they've removed the damage bonus on there that was very unique for the Metallic Dragonborn. So now let's talk a little bit about Forte. Forte is a new stat that gives other contribution percentage to 3 Paragon specific stats. The list of Paragon specific stats can be seen here. So based on the Paragon that you're playing, for example, I'm playing on a Hunter Ranger, I get power, accuracy and awareness from Forte. As you can see here, my Forte percentage is 47.2%. My main Forte stat is power, which means that 50% of this 47.2% goes into my other contributions of power. Maybe an easier example, if my Forte would be 40%, I get 20% other contribution power and 10% accuracy and awareness in the other two. Forte in the basis is capped to 50% just as all other stats. So if your Forte value is the same as your total item level, your rating contribution is 50%, but you can also get other contributions. For now I only know Charisma that can give a Forte percentage boost, so this is replacing Companion Influence. But maybe there are other stats, other sources that I don't know yet. But yeah, Forte is a big contributor to the other statistics. So here in this case at 47.2% I get 23.6% power and other contributions, which is maxed here at 40%. So that's one of the big additions here. Maybe Awareness is more clear. My forte is 47.2, so 23.6, so 16.8 awareness, I think. Wait, am I dumb? No, it's 23.6, so it's 11.8. And my other contribution is 11.8, so that's 25% of this one. So that's, as you can see, added to the other contribution. I don't have other sources of awareness, other contributions, so it's clear to see in this case. So this is a big list of things. So what does this all mean? To be honest, it's very hard to completely oversee, but some conclusions you can take with the current setting, and this might not be final, but first of all, item level is the new main progress stat, because it determines your base damage and HP. But a disadvantage of increasing it is that it also moves your cap target. So if you increase your total item level, all of a sudden I will not have 45% crit chance anymore, but this will go down. And this is the same for everything, unless I'm of course overcapped. So item level, very important in the new system. Second, and I already mentioned this a bit, weapons are almost completely equalized. If I look, do I have different weapons here as well? If I look, for example, at the burnished weapon here, you can see what the difference is. I lose 320 item level, which is quite a bit, but if you look at this, it's not that much. But if you look at the bottom, my stat differences is 288 combined rating and 240 critical severity and accuracy, which is almost nothing. Which means that you don't pick a weapon anymore for its weapon damage. For its item level, I don't think it's that big of a deal. The very big discriminating factor here is the set bonus. And because the Celestial Bow of Dignity or the Celestial weapon sets have such an, well, not so good weapon set, you will likely see people go back to Lionheart or even older weapon set. For example, the burning weapons or even different weapons. We will have to see. But the Celestial weapons and the blessed weapons, which are other people that don't have Celestial and now using, they are hereby absolutely dead. Next up, gear that focuses on giving you power. Before, for example, this here, your power is increased by 5,000. They seem to be a lot less attractive now, since power is capped very easily, and going over the cap does nothing at all. So if I remove this item, I go down in power rating, but it doesn't matter because my other contributions are still so high that I'm still at 90%. So power gear, well, we will have to rebuild our builds, and the character build is going to play a very important role in that, I think. In this new system, in my eyes, it's going to be very hard to balance out your build. So as I said, the character build is going to be essential in order to do this relatively painless. At least for you guys. The character builder update is going to be a pain in the backside for me. But I see it as an absolute necessity, because you have this moving target that you're chasing, and everything that you change changes all the percentages. So even if I remove just this item here, all the percentages change. And some go up, some go down. You see it jumping around because it has to recalculate all the other contributions and stuff. It's actually, in my eyes, a lot more complicated than it used to be. Because before you just said my accuracy has to be 90,000 and then I'm done. Now, not so much anymore. You have to reach this, but by reaching this total item level, your total item level will go up, maybe down, and so your target changes. My last conclusion is actually do not panic before everything is clear. So right now we have this situation and a lot of people are a little bit panic selling, which is normal, I think. It happens a lot. Balancing this kind of thing is not simple anymore. I have to stress that a lot. Your caps are a moving target. If you get gear on live, make sure to just save everything. Save all the gear that you get, especially high item level gear, because it might become useful. Whatever stats are on there, it might become useful afterwards. So don't immediately sell everything. I see people selling alpha compies, for example, but this gives 5% power, yes, but this is, for example, an other contributions power. It's not adding to this flat rating, so this is not making you more over cap. So if I show you, I'm now at this 42,726. Of course, this also gives combined rating, so I'm going to go down to 42,226 if I remove this. But I'm not going to go down lower. So this is not getting increased by my alpha compy. It's going to go in this other contributions, which still is 40% because I'm using foods and stuff, and I'm a hunter ranger, so my forte goes in there. It's a complicated puzzle, and by balancing out all of our builds, let's see how many stats we can get to 90%, right? Anyway, this still needs some figuring out. I am working on it, but yeah, it's not as easy as you might think. And I'm a bit surprised that we get this rework now so quickly after mod 16, which changed the system quite a bit, and now we get this change again. This is a big one, guys. Anyway, I'm sure you guys have a lot of remarks, so if you have any remarks on this video or any suggestions on what to investigate next, feel free to comment below and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.